Hello all of you wonderful people, it's Jules here for WhatCulture.com, and today I want to talk about Iron Man, the dude who has got the amazing suit of armor that protects him from all of the nasty people who want to hurt his feelings, and looks so goddamn cool when he's flying about, blasting people in the face with repulsors, and at the end of the day can take it all off and still be a philanthropist, billionaire playboy. God, what a life Tony Stark has, eh? And in fact, it's his lives that we're going to be talking about today, because across his long tenure at Marvel, he's had a fair few gimmicks from time to time, some of which, well, quite frankly, are utterly insane. So let's get on with the list. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 insane alternative versions of Iron Man you won't believe exist. Number 10, Iron Mouse. No list of alternate universes is complete without at least one completely surreal animal-themed entry, and so of course the Iron Mouse makes the cut. Naturally, this version of Tony Stark exists in the same universe as Spider-Ham, patron saint of hilarious animal mascot editions of famous superheroes. Although the Iron Mouse does have a slight advantage, given his armor heavily resembles a certain other famous cartoon mouse, which appears to have maybe been on purpose, although it's unclear why Marvel would want Tony Stark to look like Mickey Mouse. Still, I digress. And it's definitely weird to see a playboy billionaire mouse get into the same sort of plots that seem like they've been stolen from the likes of Looney Tunes, but you know what? It's also bizarrely charming, and likely a much better way to get kids into Marvel than making them confront death and alcoholism, which Tony Stark absolutely loves, at the age of 5. Number 9, Night Thrasher. It's worth talking about Tony Stark's time as the Night Thrasher, solely in the fact that this title desperately needs to become the name of a punk band who dresses in various Iron Man suits. Make it happen. But that isn't the only interesting qualities that Earth 81156's Tony Stark possesses. This universe sees Dwayne Taylor, the main universe's Night Thrasher, and Tony Stark swap aliases, as Taylor would steal Tony's job as the head of Stark Industries. Naturally, more than a little irritated about this, Tony would take Dwayne's former mantle of Night Thrasher and use it to try and get justice. Unfortunately, this doesn't go as well for Stark as you might think, as his next encounter with Taylor would see him captured, tortured, and then killed by the former Thrasher, proving that alternate reality Tony simply do not have the plot armor of the main universe's Iron Man. Number 8, Iron Man. Back in the days when the bar for parody comics was incredibly low, Marvel created an oddly familiar duo named Nat Man and Rotten kind of low, this comic came out. Now this series was the House of Ideas way of mocking mostly its own characters, with one or two DC faces thrown into the mix just for kicks. This is the backdrop under which the Iron Man was born, and his real name is Boney Stark, which I actively dare you not to think about in every waking moment you're able to forever onwards. Boney exists to parody many of the tropes in Iron Man comics, such as his old habit of just so happening to find his enemies in their secret bases, or that his armor just so happens to malfunction at least once per issue. It's not groundbreaking in the realms of comic self-awareness, but the fact that it happened at a point way before Deadpool or even Ambush Bug existed is wonderful, because it actually makes it the granddaddy of meta superhero humor. Fancy that. Number 7, Iron Thor. When the multiverse is torn to pieces in Secret Wars, the battle world that's created after which is created from the leftovers by a borderline omnipotent Doctor Doom. After instating himself as God Emperor Doom, Victor realized that his kingdom would need a force to oversee it to ensure that his rule was as absolute as he wanted it to be. To this end, Doom created the Thor Corps, which was comprised of a simply surreal collection of alternate versions of Thor. One of the most strikingly weird of these was Iron Thor, who was, of course, a combination of Iron Man and the God of Thunder. The weirdest part, well, one of many, is that he looks really, really cool, by all means joining the outfits of the most technologically advanced superhero and a literal ancient god kind of shouldn't work, and yet somehow it does. Number 6, Iron Maniac. As you might have immediately assumed, the universe wherein Tony is known as the Iron Maniac doesn't exactly have him as an entirely heroic figure, although unlike many of his other villainous forms, it is implied that Stark was heroic right up until a whole host of heroes died at the hands of the galactic threat Titanus. This event also saw Reed Richards decide to go dark, resulting in the pair clashing over power, which would ultimately see Tony kill the Human Torch after getting his face scarred, and Reed sending Iron Man to another universe. universe. Said other universe was the main Marvel universe, which is where stuff gets really interesting. You see, the Iron Maniac managed to pose as the regular Stark in order to wreak havoc on the Fantastic Four, albeit havoc that he was immediately stopped in doing before being sent to the real Tony Stark for a spot of analysing. While it is more than a little creepy that this alternate Iron Man ended up chilling in a human-sized test tube for a while, at least it can be considered a weird kind of self-care. Maybe. Number 5. The Iron Mandrel. Not only is the Iron Mandrel one of the best puns on Tony's regular superhero name that has ever existed, but he also comes as part of Earth 8101's Defenders of the Earth, who are called the Ape Vengers, so you're onto a 1-2 winner here. But it's not all pun and fun about simians, as the Marvel Apes universe is actually one of the ones that's targeted by the zombie universe, resulting in some of the goriest shenanigans that you never expected to come out of what appeared to be at first a family-friendly alternate reality. If you've ever wanted to see a mandrel in robot armor fight off bloodthirsty zombies who just ate a superhero monkey, then you definitely have some really weird desires for in life, but those desires can be fulfilled right here. Number 4. Iron Man Sorcerer Supreme. Though it would definitely be a lie to say that Tony Stark doesn't look cool with that fantastic wizard beard, he's also kind of the last guy that you'd expect to be picking up the mystical arts when that time could clearly be spent making more groundbreaking tech. Now, he's dabbled in using technology and magic together, sure, but it always seemed like science is his first and main love, and magic is kind of the emergency backup when things are dire. Which is why it's pretty surprising to see in Earth TRN 591 where Tony Stark is the Sorcerer Supreme instead of Stephen Strange. Now, to be fair, that's because this is one of Marvel's many potential futures, but the big twist here is it's actually a pretty happy one, because it's a world in which various governments work together to fund various plans to save the world, and they succeeded, creating global peace. It's almost sad that one of the most surprisingly potential futures for Marvel is one where everything goes right, but the fact that it exists is still a nice spot of light amongst well, let's just say other grim dark that exists here. Number 3. Emperor Stark. There have been a whole lot of universes in which Tony Stark has been either transparently evil for the whole time within them or revealed to be evil through the course of the plot. However, probably the best of these is from Emperor Stark, which is found in Exiles number 23 to 25, who gains the title of Emperor by being voted lifelong Emperor of the planet after tricking the entire Earth. Now that takes some doing. Firstly, Tony uses the public's fear of mutants to his advantage by killing Magneto after funding his efforts to build an army of mutants to wage war on humanity. Then Stark would manage to sink to even lower depths by infecting the world's food supplies to the point that worldwide famine was inevitable, and then creating a vaccine after millions had died, claiming a Nobel Peace Prize in the process. After fixing a series of other crises that he created, Iron Man would become the Earth's most beloved tyrant, all the way up until Susan Storm finally managed to kill him. Number 2. Lord Iron. There are a lot of flaws about the Marvel 1602 series, largely in regards to how well the characters do or don't translate into the 17th century, especially when not all of them get powers in the course of that story. However, Iron Man remains one of the most badass figures even in this Marvel universe. And in fact, he's probably actually cooler than he usually is, because the high-tech suit that Tony regularly wears is replaced here by an old-school suit of knight's armor that he has electricity channeled through it in order to keep him alive, which is, for the record, the most metal thing ever, both figuratively and quite literally. Better yet, his entire motive in 1602 is to find the man who tortured him to the point that he has to wear said suit and then get his revenge, which is basically the plot of Taken, albeit to avenge yourself instead of saving your daughter. 1602 was not a series without flaws, but Lord Iron was decidedly not one of them. And number 1, Limo Man. If the name alone isn't enough to get you giggling, his different hero outfit definitely will be. The armor here looks considerably less cool, and considerably more like the robot from the Mighty Morphing Power Rangers had had a salacious encounter with a Transformer, and then 9 months later, this costume was born. Admittedly, most people likely forgot about it fairly quickly, as this beautiful version of Tony only exists in What If number 34, and so has been hidden away from our eyes so it can be easily repressed. But then again, this is a channel where we like to share some strange things, so enjoy. You're welcome. And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 insane alternative versions of Iron Man you won't believe exist. I hope you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. And if you want to chat to me further, you can do so over on Twitter at RetroJ0, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice as my personal gaming channel where I stream every Wednesday and Sunday.